You hold anger like a cup, sipping bitterness and calling it justice. In quiet rooms, Stoics taught us to turn that cup over and drink clarity instead. This guide dismantles the common illusions that feed fury, gives you the cognitive keys of Stoic practice, and hands concrete rituals so you will never again be angry or bothered by anyone or anything. Common illusion. You think being offended is inevitable. You think people must validate you at work, your partner must mirror your moods, and your body must perform exactly when you need it. At work, a missed credit at a meeting feels like theft of your worth. At home, a partner's distracted silence becomes proof you are unloved. In private, a missed workout or a broken plan becomes proof you failed yourself. Pause and consider. You've probably scrolled angrily through a colleague's email and rehearsed a cutting reply, imagining the scene replaying like a looped film. You've probably waited by the phone for an apology that never came, turning small slights into epic injustices. Pause and consider. 3 vivid metaphors, chains that clink when you replay grievances, storms that block your inner horizon, prisons you build with reasons and recollections. Here's the brutal truth. You do this daily, cultivating tiny seeds of resentment until they shade your whole day. Be honest. How many arguments have you nurtured in your head and never voiced? Be honest. How many nights have you let a single comment steal your sleep? You trap yourself in chains of story. You weather self-made storms. You live in prisons whose keys you refuse to pick up. You believe others have stolen your calm, when in fact you rent it out to feelings and refuse to reclaim it. The more you narrate the offense, the more your anger grows. The more you amplify the slight, the more you make it permanent. The more you rehearse the hurt, the more it becomes your identity. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider. Stoic and psychological truth, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about it. These 2 Stoic directives are not pleasant slogans. They are operational commands for the architecture of life. Modern neuroscience shows that the amygdala responds to perceived threat by hijacking logic pathways, creating an immediate taste of rage long before the prefrontal cortex can apply judgment. Pause and consider. Psychology studies on cognitive reappraisal reveal that reframing events reduces physiological arousal and downstream hostility. Layered explanation. Simple, you choose your response. Medium, your brain has systems that default to anger for speed. Deep, those systems are plastic and can be rewired through disciplined practice and narrative control. Another layer. Social conditioning teaches you to externalize blame for self-protection. Paradox 1. Control what you can by surrendering control over what you cannot. Paradox 2. Accepting limits increases your influence over them. In one sentence of Stoic history, Epictetus, born a slave, turned limitation into a classroom for inner freedom. Pause and consider application. Start here. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. 3 deep breaths and name one likely annoyance. Step 2. Rehearse a calm response. Step 3. Set intention. I will keep my center. Why it works. Primes the prefrontal cortex, reduces amygdala flares. Emotional result, you begin the day less reactive, more peaceful. Practice 2. Midday trigger. Step 1. Notice a rising heat in the chest. Step 2. Label the feeling anger and its thought. Step 3. Enact a 2-minute grounding exercise. Why it works. Interrupts the story loop and gives you choice. Emotional result, you salvage the rest of the day. Practice 3. Evening review. Step 1. Record one reactive moment. Step 2. Ask, what claim did I make? Step 3. Rewrite a calmer narrative. Why it works. Memory reconsolidation softens the charge. Emotional result, fewer grudges tomorrow. Practice 4, weekly challenge. Step 1, pick one critic you fear. Step 2, initiate a short, honest conversation. Step 3, note outcomes without editing. Why it works, desensitizes fear of social threat. Emotional result, stronger relationships. Practice 5, monthly audit. Step 1, review patterns. Step 2, celebrate 3 micro wins. Step 3, set one hard boundary for next month. Why it works, builds cumulative discipline. Emotional result, tangible sense of progress. Practice 6, what if transformation story. Imagine losing public status but retaining peace. Rehearse it daily for 30 days. Why it works, pre-exposure reduces threat appraisals. Emotional result, you become resilient. Imagine this, you face an insult and feel calm, curious, direct. Imagine this, you sleep without repeating old tapes. Pause and consider tension. Hook, what would you do differently if you could never be made angry again? Pause and consider common illusion. You conflate being offended with being important. You think a loud reaction proves you mattered in a conversation, that a sharp retort protects your reputation, and that visible fury equals moral clarity. At work, you believe a heated email defends your competence. In relationships, you believe a dramatic protest proves love. In the personal realm, you believe punishment is the only route to justice for yourself. Pause and consider. You've probably framed your day around a grudge, letting a small slight steer meetings, calls, and sleep. You've probably practiced a scathing reply at night and then presented a diminished version in daylight. Pause and consider. Picture metaphors. A rusting sword you brandish to feel safe, a storm you call down to cleanse yourself, but that floods your own house, a prison cell you furnish with the pictures of your enemies. Here's the brutal truth. You do this daily, adding brick to brick in a fortress of grievance. Be honest. How often have you performed outrage to get attention? Be honest. How many apologies were never sought because you wanted to be right? You act as judge, jury, and avenger for every slight. You believe reaction proves strength, when in reality restraint is the superior muscle. The more you defend perceived dignity with anger, the more you create enemies. The more you rehearse righteous indignation, the more it becomes your identity. The more you equate noise with value, the more peace you lose. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider. Stoic and psychological truth. Marcus Aurelius advised internal audits. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. Seneca wrote, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." These quotes point to internal recompense and to humility. Neuroscience reveals that chronic anger changes neural pathways, increasing baseline arousal and making hostility the default mood. Pause and consider. Cognitive behavioral therapy demonstrates that examining evidence for a belief reduces emotional intensity by exposing faulty assumptions. Layered explanation. Simple, your reactions are optional. Medium, your habitual response patterns are learned and reinforced by reward. Deep anger often masks vulnerability and fear of loss. Paradox 1. To gain control, you must relinquish the need to control outcomes. Paradox 2. Showing strength through softness often yields more influence than loudness. Historical Stoic anecdote. Seneca, exiled and humiliated, wrote letters teaching composure as a craft. Pause and consider application. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. 5-minute silence, naming your top 3 values. Step 2. Visualize repeating them when provoked. Step 3. Breathe and say, "This is my work today." Why it works. anchors identity to values, not events. Emotional result, steadier priorities. Practice 2. Midday trigger. Step 1. Spot the physiological signs. Step 2. Put both hands on your knees and ground. Step 3. Take one clarifying question to ask before speaking. Why it works, slows reaction and creates curiosity. Emotional result, fewer regrettable words. Practice 3. Evening review. Step 1. Note every moment you felt righteous anger. Step 2. Ask what you gained by that reaction. Step 3. Write an alternative response to try next time. Why it works, rewires reward pathways. Emotional result, calmer reflections. Practice 4. Weekly challenge. Step 1. Practice magnanimity with one difficult colleague. Step 2. Give small credit publicly. Step 3. Note the shift. Why it works, reciprocity lowers conflict. Emotional result, unexpected cooperation. Practice 5. Monthly audit. Step 1. Chart incidents of anger. Step 2. Identify triggers. Step 3. Design a targeted habit to neutralize one trigger. Why it works, targeted interruption. Emotional result, measurable reduction in fights. Practice 6. What if transformation story. Imagine your reputation intact, but your inner peace unshaken. Rehearse through journaling for a month. Why it works. Narrative rehearsal changes valuation of events. Emotional result. A composed presence. Imagine this. Someone insults your work, and you answer with curiosity and solution. Imagine this. A partner snaps, and you respond with steadiness. Pause and consider tension hook. If being right costs you your peace, what price are you willing to pay? Pause and consider. Common illusion. You believe that anger protects boundaries. You think fierce responses deter repeat violations, that being volatile ensures others won't exploit you, and that a rigid stance signals competence. At work, you loudly correct a subordinate thinking they will never cross you again. In relationships, you storm out believing distance will teach them to respect you. In your private life, you punish yourself for failure by increasing severity of self-criticism. Pause and consider. You've probably used volume to hide uncertainty, filling silence with a roar. You've probably punished yourself physically or emotionally because you believed pain would build character. Pause and consider. Metaphors. Chains formed into armor that never lets you breathe. Storms that scorch the garden you planned. Prisons of self-discipline that become cages. Here's the brutal truth. You do this daily, thinking aggression equals armor. Be honest. How often have you escalated to prove a point? Be honest. How many relationships did you fracture because you equated love with struggle? You think aggression secures your value, when in truth, discipline and calm enforce real boundaries. The more you lash out, the more you invite resistance. The more you punish, the more you tear at your own resilience. The more you mistake volume for authority, the less you are heard. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider. Stoic and psychological truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." Epictetus underscored agency. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. These quotes articulate judgment and disciplined action. Modern psychology shows that anger often serves as a secondary emotion over fear or shame. Labeling and treating the primary feeling reduces the outburst. Pause and consider. Neuroscience points to neural habituation. Repeated angry reactions sensitize circuits and make future escalations more likely. Layered explanation. Simple anger doesn't build lasting boundaries. Medium, consistent, calm enforcement of values creates predictable patterns others follow. Deep your identity as calm authority rewires social responses, shifting power dynamics. Paradox 1. Enforce limits by showing you can let things go. Paradox 2. Restraint often accomplishes what rage cannot. Historical Stoic anecdote. Marcus Aurelius, emperor amid chaos, cultivated private calm to guide public action. Pause and consider application. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. Stand and name one boundary you will keep. Step 2. Rehearse the few words you'll say if crossed. Step 3. Breathe and visualize holding that tone. Why it works? Reduces improvisation under heat. Emotional result: confident composure. Practice 2. Midday trigger. Step 1. When offended, count to 4 and note intention. Step 2. Use neutral wording to state the boundary. Step 3. Disengage if needed. Why it works: protects your center and models calm. Emotional result: fewer blow-ups. Practice 3. Evening review. Step 1. List moments you enforced or failed to enforce a boundary. Step 2. Analyze energy cost. Step 3. Plan a corrective script for next time. Why it works: improves future performance. Emotional result: more predictable interactions. Practice 4. Weekly challenge. Step 1. Say no to one request you usually accept. Step 2. Keep the explanation brief. Step 3. Observe reactions. Why it works: trains discomfort tolerance. Emotional result: more time, more respect. Practice 5. Monthly audit. Step 1. Collect examples where calm worked. Step 2. Catalog what changed. Step 3. Set one new boundary to test. Why it works: evidence-based habit formation. Emotional result: compounding authority. Practice 6. What if transformation story. Imagine losing a client but retaining self-respect. Practice writing the resignation speech. Why it works: pre-exposure to loss reduces panic. Emotional result: freedom to choose. Imagine this: you refuse a toxic task with steady eyes and feel no need to justify. Imagine this: a former critic now seeks your calm counsel. Pause and consider tension hook. What would you enforce if you no longer needed to be feared? Pause and consider common illusion. You think anger is a moral thermometer. You read headlines, see an injustice, and assume thunder is the only proper response. You think righteous rage signals moral clarity, that fury is a sign you are awake. At work, you post scathing commentary to highlight your integrity. In relationships, you demand apologies as proof of conscience. In your private life, you punish your own missteps with shame, masquerading as moral rigor. Pause and consider. You've probably paraded your indignation on social media to feel morally cleansed. You've probably rehearsed a public shaming you never delivered because part of you knew it would cost more than it gained. Pause and consider. Metaphors: chains forged as medals of honor that rust, storms that leave desolation, prisons built of righteous rubble. Here's the brutal truth: you do this daily, mistaking noise for virtue. Be honest. How many times have you worn outrage like a uniform? Be honest. How often have you refused nuance because it felt soft? You confuse heat with truth when clarity requires patience. The more you perform virtue through anger, the more you conceal weakness. The more you equate fury with justice, the more you miss the work of repair. The more you brandish moral outrage, the more you provoke counter-anger. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider Stoic and psychological truth. Seneca warned that opinion is a fragile master. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Epictetus demanded disciplined assent to impressions. When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. A modern psychology demonstrates that moral grandstanding is rewarded socially with short-term status, but undermines long-term trust. Pause and consider. Neuroscience shows that public displays of outrage activate social reward centers, making performative anger addictive. Layered explanation. Simple virtue is quiet practice, not performance. Medium moral outrage can mobilize change, but also polarize and freeze real solutions. Deep, true moral influence arises from sustained, principled action that tolerates ambiguity and seeks repair over spectacle. Paradox 1. The louder your virtue, the less persuasive you become. Paradox 2. To change others, you often must first soften your own certainties. Historical Stoic anecdote. Stoic philosophers served public life without theatrics, favoring consistent character over applause. Pause and consider application. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. Read one short passage that challenges your certainty. Step 2. Commit to listening before concluding. Step 3. Breathe and say, I seek truth, not applause. Why it works. Reduces reflexive grandstanding. Emotional result. Calmer moral clarity. Practice 2. Midday trigger. Step 1. When tempted to broadcast outrage, pause and ask, what outcome do I want? Step 2. Choose action that aligns with outcome. Step 3. If action is speech, make it precise and solution-oriented. Why it works. Aligns emotion with efficacy. Emotional result. Increased impact. Practice 3. Evening review. Step 1. Note one moment you used outrage. Step 2. Measure its effectiveness. Step 3. Plan a quieter intervention next time. Why it works. Refined strategy. Emotional result. Higher moral capital. Practice 4. Weekly challenge. Step 1. Perform one unseen act of repair or help. Step 2. Record feelings privately. Step 3. Reflect on motive. Why it works. Rewires reward away from spectacle. Emotional result. Humility and influence. Practice 5. Monthly audit. Step 1. Tally actions that led to actual change. Step 2. Eliminate performative habits. Step 3. Set one measurable moral goal. Why it works. Focuses energy on results. Emotional result. Genuine progress. Practice 6. What if transformation story. Imagine a moment when silence and steady work achieved what anger could not. Write the sequence and embody it. Why it works. Models. Alternative pathways. Emotional result. Deeper effectiveness. Imagine this. A movement grows because of patient organizing, not viral outrage. Imagine this. Your quiet intervention repairs a relationship. Louder protests shattered. Pause and consider tension. Hook. If trembling indignation cost you the result you wanted, would you change how you act? Pause and consider common illusion. You believe anger proves authenticity. You equate intensity with honesty. Thinking strong reactions demonstrate the real you. You think being scorched by emotion authenticates history, relationships, and work. At work, you explain away rudeness as being honest. In relationships, you justify storms as true passion. In private, you cling to guilt as evidence of conscience. Pause and consider. You've probably used the line, "I was just being real," to excuse cruelty. You've probably dismissed feedback as a betrayal because it didn't match your narrative. Pause and consider. Metaphors. Chains disguised as truth. Storms that mislabel themselves as cleansing. Prisons built from your own proclaimed realism. Here's the brutal truth. You do this daily, confusing honesty with unfiltered reaction. Be honest. How often have you hurt someone and then claimed authenticity as defense? Be honest. How many truths have you hidden behind rage? The more you defend honesty with anger, the more you hurt the things you claim to love. The more you mistake intensity for truth, the less you know your real self. The more you wear fury as a badge, the more brittle your relationships become. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider Stoic and psychological truth. Marcus Aurelius counseled self-examination. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Epictetus taught that habits sculpt character. First learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. Modern psychology finds that authenticity that harms others is not authenticity, but impulsivity dressed in virtue. Pause and consider. Neuroscience highlights that emotional expression without regulation engages reward circuits, but damages social bonds and increases chronic stress. Layered explanation. Simple honesty without discipline is cruelty. Medium-regulated authenticity builds trust. Deep, true selfhood emerges from disciplined choice, not unfiltered release. Paradox 1. To be fully yourself, you must sometimes refrain. Paradox 2. The moderate voice often reveals more of truth than the eruptive one. In Stoic history, philosophers practiced restraint as integrity, showing that self-mastery is honesty's highest form. Pause and consider. Application. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. Journal. A truth you fear saying. Step 2. Distill it to one sentence you can deliver calmly. Step 3. Practice with measured tone. Why it works. Converts impulse into coherent truth. Emotional result. Confident clarity. Practice 2. Midday trigger step 1. When tempted to vent, count to 6 and rewrite the line to keep dignity. Step 2. Ask if the goal is to change or to release. Step 3. Choose the calibrated path. Why it works. Aligns expression with intention. Emotional result. Preserved relationships. Practice 3. Evening review. Step 1. List moments you claimed authenticity. Step 2. Evaluate harm versus benefit. Step 3. Plan a tempered truth for similar future moments. Why it works. Supports growth. Emotional result. Honest connection. Practice 4. Weekly challenge. Step 1. Practice delivering hard truths that include care. Step 2. Solicit feedback. Step 3. Revise delivery. Why it works. Trains brave gentleness. Emotional result. More real intimacy. Practice 5. Monthly audit. Step 1. Measure how often anger disguised as honesty caused fallout. Step 2. Set a reduction target. Step 3. Reward yourself for progress. Why it works. Creates accountability. Emotional result. Fewer burned bridges. Practice 6. What if transformation story? Imagine a life where honesty is steady and relationships deepen. Script a conversation where your calm truth opens doors. Why it works. Narrative rehearsal changes behavior. Emotional result. You become known for integrity. Imagine this. You tell a hard truth and the person listens and leans in. Imagine this. Your calm honesty becomes the bridge others seek. Pause and consider tension hook. Which version of yourself are you preparing others to know? Explosive honesty or steady truth? Pause and consider common illusion. You think anger is inevitable after being wronged. You believe some injuries can't be contained without thunder, that forgiveness is weakness, and that being unbothered means being passive. At work, you treat slights as permanent stains on reputation. In relationships, you collect offenses like trophies. In private, you rehearse grudges nightly as proof you were right. Pause and consider. You've probably kept a mental ledger of debts to settle someday. You've probably let one comment form the plot of a whole week. Pause and consider. Metaphors. Chains that chafe and leave scars. Storms you summon that drown your gardens. Prisons you decorate with the portraits of offenders. Here's the brutal truth. You do this daily, convincing yourself anger defends you when it enslaves you. Be honest. How often have you worn vindication as comfort? Be honest. How many opportunities did you lose while replaying injury? The more you nurse a grudge, the more it grows. The more you rehearse revenge, the more you harden. The more you cling to being offended, the less free you become. How many years have you wasted on this? Pause and consider Stoic and psychological truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Seneca advised that anger is like a poison that corrodes the vessel it is meant to serve. Modern neuroscience indicates that chronic rumination strengthens networks of negative memory, making negative recall faster and more automatic. Pause and consider. Psychological research on forgiveness finds that releasing grudges reduces cortisol and improves cardiovascular health. Layered explanation. Simple forgiving is an act of self-liberation. Medium cognitively reframing an offense changes its emotional weight. Deep forgiveness is a practice that rewires memory consolidation and social scripts. Paradox 1. Letting go often increases your influence. Paradox 2. Surrendering the right to be angry grants you the power to choose. Stoic history shows philosophers forgiving slights to preserve the larger project of wisdom and civic life. Pause and consider application. Practice 1. Morning ritual. Step 1. Name one person you'd like to forgive. Step 2. Identify what you will keep as lesson. Step 3. Breathe and release the scene for the day. Why it works. Removes rehearsal from morning ruminations. Emotional result. Lighter start. Practice 2. Midday trigger. Step 1. When resentment rises, anchor to a physical gesture of release, open hand. Step 2, say aloud, "I choose my peace." Step 3, move on to task. Why it works. Couples cognition with action. Emotional result, regained focus. Practice 3, evening review. Step 1, write the revenge scene and then rewrite it as a release. Step 2, imagine a neutral outcome. Step 3, close with gratitude. Why it works. Reconsolidates memory. Emotional result. Sleep without replay. Practice 4. Weekly challenge. Step 1. Perform one small act of grace towards someone who harmed you. Step 2. Notice internal reactions. Step 3. Hold to the intention of freedom. Why it works. Exposes compassionate choice. Emotional result. Reduced reactivity. Practice 5. Monthly audit. Step 1. Map grudges you hold. Step 2. Mark those that cost you energy. Step 3. Design one surrender for the month. Why it works. Creates incremental liberation. Emotional result. Sustained calm. Practice 6. What if transformation story. Imagine your life when you no longer collect harms, where mistakes are data and relationships are experiments. Tell the story in detail for 30 nights. Why it works. Narrative rehearsal rewires priority. Emotional result. You become unbothered by the small storms. Imagine this. An insult lands, and instead of a cyclone, you feel curiosity and resolve. Imagine this. Years later, you measure influence not by how often you were offended, but by the peace you carried. Pause and consider tension hook. If you could never again be angered, who would you become and what would you do? Pause and consider.